12 games down, 1 to go. Who is going to win the Super Bowl? I can guarantee you one thing. The winning team is going to have a coach whose first name is Mike. No, seriously, look at both of the head coaches for the Patriots and Seahawks because, yeah, that's actually true. Someone brought up a post about a September thing that happened. They thought they scripted the Super Bowl. Buddy, do you realize Baker is the closest one besides Drake May to the Lombardi? There's no way you actually believe that was scripted. Oh yeah, and also Malik Neighbors was closer than Sam Darnold. So there you go. But anyways, let's get straight to it. Welcome back to Grizzly Talks Football, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be discussing the conference championship reactions from yesterday. We're also going to be looking at the Big Ten team tier list. If you are enjoying the series so far, make sure you get this a big thumbs up. Hit the red subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single one of my videos. Helps the channel a lot. This is the Grizz. Without further delay, let's get straight to it. First things first, the AFC Championship game. It was a snowfest in the second half. Patriots survived 10-7. They survived again. Jarrett Stidham had a good start, and then it all went downhill for Denver when he did that little push pass that turned into a backwards pass, and thus it was a fumble. That's where it really got ugly. I can't say Drake May was perfect because he wasn't. I mean, 88 under 100 yards, less than 50% of his completions. Like, he had a rough game all night, all day. That just shows how legitimate Broncos defense really was. The run game was really what got New England going. I mean, Drake May had some big plays, including that 28-yard run. And also, I think that was the one that sealed the game. And then also that one run for the only touchdown for New England. Mac Hollins, 2 big catches as well, and 2 targets. Stephon Diggs had 5 catches for 17. I mean, receiving core, it wasn't bad for them. And how about Christian Gonzalez as well? He actually played pretty well in this game. Interception and a sack. Christian Ellis, I think, forced a fumble on Stidham. That was a backwards pass that ended up being recovered by Elijah Ponder. Forcing 2 turnovers from the defense. That was really what won them the game. Also, 1 of 3 for Andres Borregales. He did make that one kick that ended up being the game winner. As for Denver's offense, yeah, Jarrett Stidham played better than Drake May, but of course the 2 turnovers that he had actually cost him the game. Rushing game, definitely not as good as New England's, of course. And Marvin Mims, 4 catches, 62 yards. Also a touchdown pass to Cortland Sutton. Like, passing offense for Denver was honestly pretty decent. However, it was the defense for Denver that came to play here. 5 sacks, including 1.5 for DJ Jones, 1 for Allen, 1 for Cooper, 1 for Robinson. Fortunately, didn't force a single turnover. And what a rough game for Will Lutz as well. 0 of 2 on field goals. Would have won them the game if he hit both of them. Actually, both kickers missed 2 field goals, so, you know, kicking was tough. But isn't it always tough when it's in the snow? If it wasn't for the snowfest at Denver, who knows what would have happened in this game. But the bottom line is New England is going to the Super Bowl. Mike Vrabel really just turned a 4-win Patriots team to a 14-win team that's going to the Super Bowl. Let's see who they were facing. NFC Championship results. Much better game as far as the score goes, but Seahawks beat the Rams 31-27. Sam Darnold actually won a big game. Props to Los Angeles, man. They put up a really, really good fight. I think Matt Stafford is the MVP with this performance. 22 of 35, 374, 3 touchdowns. Rushing game was pretty decent as well. Touchdowns went to Puka Nacua, who had an insane catch after Tariq Woolen actually committed an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. It was the play right after. Devontae had a touchdown, and so did Kyren Williams out of the backfield. But of course, the only reason why the Rams lost was because the defense could not stop Sam Darnold from going off. 25 of 36, 346, 3 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker had himself another rushing touchdown. I think he's had 4 this postseason. Touchdown passes went to JSN with 10 catches for 153 and a touchdown. Unfortunately, I do think he is going to be the Offensive Player of the Year, as much as I want Nacua to win it. Cooper Kupp got a touchdown, so did Jake Bobo. Wow. Wasn't expecting Jake to get one. 3 targets, did catch 1 pass for Rashid Shaheed for 51 yards. That was a big one to start the game. Offenses did everything they could to outscore everybody. It ended up being Seattle, who came out on top, and the Seattle defense stepped up when they needed to. I'm telling you, man, this offense is actually legit, and this whole team is legit. So yeah, it's going to be Seahawks Patriots in the Super Bowl 60. That is quite insane. Seattle's first appearance in an NFC title game since 2014 ends up being a Super Bowl appearance, and the Rams' first NFC title game since they won the Super Bowl in 21. Broncos first since 2015. New England made their first conference title since the Brady era. Man, what a weird year. And it's just a shame it will come to an end in 2 weeks. Been a great ride. Now we transition over to the Big Ten team tier list for 2025. We obviously got the elite tier, above average, mid, disappointing, and of course the dungeon of ass. I think we all know what's going on right now. Let's kick things off with the Illinois Fighting Illini. I'm not going to put them in above average. Nah, I don't think so. I'll put them in high, mid. Yeah, you know what? Sure. I mean, I know they're a non-win team, but sure, let's put them in above average. 9-4 played 3 ranked teams, won one of those games. That was against USC. Got dominated by Indiana, got blown up by Ohio State, and also dominated a Duke team that would go on to win the ACC. Unfortunately, I wanted to put them in mid-tier because they lost to Wisconsin. Not just lost to them, got blown out. Same thing with Washington. However, they did get a huge clutch bowl win against Tennessee in the Music City Bowl. Because Tennessee found a way to lose again. Led by head coach Brett Bielema, Luke Altmaier had about the same output as last year. 22 touchdowns, 3,000 yards. Rushing game was a pretty big balance between a couple of runners. Khalil Valentine was the leader with 600 yards, 4 touchdowns, even though Caden Fagan had 7 touchdowns and 500 yards. And of course, the receiver corps was led by Hank Beatty with 70 catches, 864 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And shout out to Gabe Jacques, I hope I said that right, with 11 sacks. They had a good team, it was just I wasn't expecting them to be preseason ranked and then finish the year unranked at 9-4. Next up we got those Indiana Hoosiers. How glorious it must be, the kings of college football for this season. Yep, in just 2 years, Indiana becomes national champions, only undefeated team in America. Kirk Cincinnati, second year, wins a natty with the Hoosiers. This guy is already making a case to be the greatest coach in college football, but he's got a long way to go. 16-0, like I said. Had to struggle in their first game against Old Dominion, only win by 13, but then they beat Illinois by 50 points. Who was in the top 10 at the time? Did have an Iowa game against Iowa, beat Oregon in their own house, and also defeated Ohio State in the Big Ten championship, and then ran through their playoff opponents like butter, except for Miami. Game-sealing interception secured the dub for the Hoosiers and the national championship for the first time in program history. Led by a Heisman Trophy winner, Fernando Mendoza finished the year with 3,500 yards, 41 touchdowns. Pair of running backs got the job done on the ground for Indiana. Roman Hemby, 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns. Caleb Black, just over 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. Receiving corps was led by Omar Cooper, just over 1,000 yards, 14 touchdowns. Elisha Surratt also had 15 touchdowns alongside 800 yards. And how about the defense finishing second in the nation in allowing points per game with just under 11? They ranked in the top 15 in pretty much every single defensive category that was very significant. Third in takeaways, second in allowing touchdowns, third in rushing defense. Do we have a new Nick Saban around here? Next up, we got Iowa, and I don't care what anyone says, I'm putting them in above average, literally because of this reason. Iowa went 9-4, and their only losses came in one-score games, all against ranked teams. Just unfortunate they went 0-4 against ranked opponents. They did finish it off with a bowl win against the ranked Vanderbilt, though, so they are actually 1-4 against ranked opponents this season. I would put them in mid for that, but the fact that they won 9 games, especially with the bad quarterback play, pretty impressive. Mark Radowski, man, he might not pass so much, because of Kurt Ferentz offense, but sure enough, he can run for some scores. 26 total touchdowns, 16 on the ground, 1,700 passing yards. Leader in rushing was Kamari Moulton, who had 878 yards, 5 touchdowns. Receiving game was led by DJ Voname, 434 yards of 29 catches for 3 scores. Defense ranked top 10 in allowing points per game and also in pass defense. Big Ten has some good defenses, and we're only 3 teams in. Up next, we got Maryland. I would put you in ass right now, but yeah, you're like low tier disappointing. You got lucky. This team really started 4-0, and then lost 8 straight. You guys know they actually could have started 7-0. After that 4-0 start, lost by 4 to Washington at home, lost by 3 against Nebraska at home, and then lost by 3 against UCLA on the road. They actually could have been a bowl-eligible team if they would have just been able to close out games, but unfortunately, they could not. I mean, at the end of the day, Malik Washington sort of looked promising. 2,900 yards, 17 touchdowns, 9 picks. Running game wasn't too effective. Only one guy went above 500 yards. That was DeJuan Williams. A receiving game led by Shalik Knotts. 44 catches, 717 yards, and 6 tutties. But how about Jalen Husky and Jamari Glasker at 4 picks each? I tell you, man, that defense was forced to turnovers. And that was sort of the only thing that really went well for them. Up next, Michigan State Spartans. Michigan State is basically the exact same thing as Maryland, but they are just above them because they beat them. Basically the same thing as Maryland, except their close games came at the end of the season. Also, their victory came at the end of the season as well. Started 3-0, somehow went to double overtime against Boston College, who would go on to win 1 game all year. And then that 3-0 start was where the fun ended. Because the only close games they really had, the one-score games after that, was on the road against Minnesota and Iowa. Just a rough year for the Spartans again. 2 quarterbacks were a part of this team, Aiden Childs and Alessio Milojevic. I hope I said that right. By the way, Aiden Childs is actually going to Northwestern. Both of them had dead touchdowns at 3 picks. Running game wasn't too great. Receiving game led by Nick Marsh and Amari Kelly, 662 yards and 626 yards. With Marsh having 6 touchdowns. When are we going to see Michigan State be good again? Oh yeah, and they fired a head coach too, and Jonathan Smith. Should have never taken that job. Next up, we got Michigan. Unfortunately, I'm putting you all in mid. I know you have Illinois and Iowa above average at the same record, but here's why. They didn't beat a single ranked team. Lost to Oklahoma by 11 on the road. Lost to Ohio State at home by 18 points after winning 4 straight games against them. And then lost to Texas in the Citrus Bowl. They beat everybody they were supposed to beat, but they couldn't beat anyone they were not supposed to beat, if that makes any sense. Bryce Underwood, when he doesn't have the right weapons around him, so yeah, his performance was kind of mid. 2,400 yards, 11 touchdowns to 9 picks. Rushing game was really what carried this offense. Jordan Marshall and Justice Haynes double-digit touchdowns, combining for almost 1,800 total rushing yards. Andrew Marsh led receiving with 651 yards on 45 catches and 4 touchdowns. Perhaps the future could look bright for Michigan in the future? Oh wait, Justice Haynes is going to Georgia Tech. I've almost forgot about that. I mean, it could be brighter now. Next up, we got Minnesota Golden Gophers. I am putting you in the same tier as Michigan. I'm putting y'all in mid. 8-5 is still not a bad year. If Minnesota was actually 9-4, I would have put them above Michigan because they beat a ranked team. Believe it or not, Minnesota actually started 5-2 to start the season, including a ranked win over Nebraska at home, 24-6. Unfortunately, a blowout loss to Iowa, a blowout loss at Northwestern, and a 17-7 victory over Wisconsin ensured that the best that they would be going to was the Rate Bowl. They won that overtime thriller. Still not a bad season though for PJ Fleck. Drake Lindsey came in and he was solid. 2,400 yards, 18 touchdowns, 6 picks. Darius Taylor was pretty good with 4.7 yards to carry, 670 yards, 4 touchdowns. Receiving game, added committee of wideouts, but nobody went above 500 yards. I'm guessing Darius Taylor is going to go to the NFL draft, so best wishes to him. How about Minnesota with top 10 ranking in sacks? Of course, led by Anthony Smith, who had 12.5. And how about John Nestor as well with 6 picks? Maybe you got something going there, Mr. Fleck. Next up, Nebraska Cornhuskers. I think low mid tier, high disappointing tier. I'm going to put them in disappointing along with the losing record teams. Nebraska started 5-1 and then went 7-6. In fact, they lost 4 of their last 5 games, including the bowl game against Utah, which ended up being the Las Vegas Bowl. I'm putting them in disappointing because, like Michigan, they didn't beat a single ranked team. Did beat a Cincinnati team on the road that would actually go on to be decent. And that was week 1, so it doesn't mean too much. Anyways, Dylan Raiola was the quarterback, and he was solid. 2,000 yards, 18 touchdowns, 6 picks. But the man of the hour was Emmett Johnson. 1,400 yards, 12 touchdowns in 12 games. Unfortunately, did opt out of the bowl game because I think he's going to be selected in the NFL draft. Nazia Hunter, I hope I'm saying that right, led receiver with 43 catches, 617 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Shout out to the pass defense that ended up being second in the nation with just over 140 yards a game. That's allowed. Does Spat Rule have something cooking? Next up, we got Northwestern. Unfortunately, if I put Nebraska in disappointing, I'm sorry, Northwestern, but you're going there too. And no, nobody really had any expectations there, so I guess I'll put you all in mid. I think I remember I put this team at dead last in the Big Ten. I was not aware Purdue was that bad. But anyways, it wasn't a horrible season for Northwestern, 7-6. Lost to every ranked team they played, and they almost beat Michigan. Because other than them, they got blown out by every ranked team they played, including a college football playoff bound Tulane. At least they dominated a bowl game. But come on, that was Central Michigan in the Game Above Sports Bowl. You knew that was coming. Anyways, Preston Stone was okay, 2,400 yards, 17 touchdowns, 12 picks. Kayla Komalafe was actually really good, 941 yards, 190 carries, and 11 touchdowns. Joe Hyman, Coach Kelly prospect, shout out to Overtime and that one school in Arkansas, had just under 500 yards, almost 5 yards a carry and a touchdown, so he wasn't horrible. Receiver was led by Griffin Wild, 71 catches, 880 yards, 8 touchdowns. At least their defense did a lot better than the offense did. And hey, there was that victory at Penn State. More on that later. Next up, Ohio State. Yeah, as much as I don't want to admit it, yes, they were an elite team. Undefeated, 12-0 in the regular season, and then lost their last 2 games. Once to the Big Ten champion Indiana, and once to the Miami Hurricanes. I mean, like, they were the number 1 team until that Big Ten championship game. I mean, come on, they beat the number 1 team in the preseason, Texas, 14-7, and then they ran through the rest of their schedule like it was nothing. Only 2 ranked teams, though, against Michigan and Illinois, and they smoked both of them. And then went up against Indiana and Miami, and I think you can guess what happened there. Julian Sayin had a very solid season. I mean, 3,600 yards, 32 touchdowns, 8 picks, was somehow a Heisman candidate as well. Then Bo Jackson led rushing with just over 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns, with CJ Donaldson getting 10 touchdowns, unfortunately under 4 yards a carry. Bo had 6 yards a carry. And of course, the best receiver in the entire nation, won the Blitnikoff Award, was Jeremiah Smith. 87 catches, 1,200 yards, 12 touchdowns. And also Cardinal Tate's impact shouldn't be overshadowed as well. 875 yards, 9 touchdowns. I think it's going to be selected in the first round of the NFL draft if I'm not mistaken. Number 1 scoring defense, number 1 pass defense, number 1 in allowing touchdown. Actually, the only team in the entire country to allow under 10 points this season. I know they didn't win it all, but still, that's really impressive for a defense. Shout out to Caden Curry with the 11 sacks on the year. And hopefully Ryan Day will get his shit together. Hopefully not. Because I don't know about y'all, but I'm about sick of Ohio State being such elite. Like, they haven't been bad since 2011. Not even a mid-team. They've been elite, and it's been national title or bust every year. Anyways, moving on to Oregon. I gotta say, I mean, I know they lost 2 games, but boy, Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon were the Big Ten. Some close calls there and then. Maybe a scare against Washington. 1 against Iowa. Maybe against Wisconsin. 21 points was absolutely ridiculous. And did lose to Indiana at home, but they did knock off a Penn State team that would go on to be 7-6. I mean, they made it to the playoff semifinals when they lost to Indiana again. I mean, shut out Texas Tech and also beat JMU. And not very impressive, to be quite honest with you. Dante Moore had a very solid season, 3,500 yards, 30 touchdowns, 10 picks, one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, and he decided to stay at Oregon for another year instead of going to the draft. I mean, he was going to be selected by the Jets if he stayed, so it makes sense. Jordan Davison had 15 rushing touchdowns, but Noah Whittington led rushing with 800 yards and 6 touchdowns. The best receiver was Malik Benson with 43 catches, 700 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Their defense was also top 10 in points allowed, touchdowns allowed, and they were top 3 in passing defense as far as yards allowed. Sack leader was Tatum Tuioti, who had 9.5 sacks, and same thing with Batayo Uyagalele, who had 6 sacks. Dan Lannon, I gotta say, ever since you became coach at Oregon, your team has been nothing short of elite. Please keep it that way. Up next we got, oh dear God, Penn State. Oh man, I've been waiting for this tier to come out, but yeah, that is a tier solely for them. Started the season number 2, ended the year unranked. Started 3-0 against weak opposition, and then lost 5-6 straight games. I mean, they did win their last 4, but it was too late. The damage was done. Became the first team in, I believe, about 40 years to lose to a winless team. Like, a top 10 team that was actually had one lost to a winless team. That was Penn State. Then they lost at home to Northwestern, lost by 1 to Iowa, and then got blown up by Ohio State. Almost beat Indiana, but couldn't do it. So sad, man. And then Penn State and Clemson were both preseason top 5 teams, played each other in the Pinstripe Bowl. That is hilarious. Head coach got fired, starting quarterback got injured. It was just an absolute freak show. I mean, they were 3-6 in conference play. Like, it was a disaster. The saving grace for this team was definitely not the quarterback play. I mean, 2,600 yards, 16 touchdowns, 7 interceptions wasn't bad, but the run game was really what took it over. Katrin Allen, 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns. Nick Singleton, 13 rushing touchdowns. And what the hell happened to the defense? I mean, as soon as Abdul Carter left and maybe a couple of other players as well, that defense was pretty mid. Big 10 standards, it was disappointing. Across the country, pretty mid. Now we got Purdue. Ass. If Maryland's a disappointing tier, this is going to be the only team that's going to be an ass tier. I mean, this Purdue team was an absolute, like an even worse show to Penn State. I mean, they only had 1-2 games. I mean, it was better than last year, but still. 3 wins in the last 2 seasons, Purdue? Really? Also, mind you, 7 in the last 3 years. And they played 36 games. 7-29. I have no words. I mean, their quarterback literally threw more interceptions than touchdowns. Their running back, Devin Mockabee, was actually their saving grace. 700 yards and 5 touchdowns. I mean, for the defense, I mean, I guess CJ Nunnally had 7 sacks. It was just bad from top to bottom. Up next, we got Rutgers. Look, I mean, you're not so disappointing because nobody really put expectations on you, but you did lose to Penn State to miss out on a bowl game. 1-score games against Minnesota and Penn State and Purdue of all teams. Yeah, that could get you a 5-7 record pretty quickly. I mean, the passing offense was good, but then everything else, it's either mid or flat out terrible. Aston, I'm not going to even say his last name. 3,100 yards, 20 touchdowns, 7 picks. Antoine Raymond was pretty good, though. 1,400 yards, 15 touchdowns. KJ Duff had 1,000 yards receiving and 7 touchdowns at least. I'm not even going to explain the defense because it was that bad. Moving on. Next up, UCLA. Dog, I'm not even going to explain what the hell this was, but just barely they're avoiding ass and being a disappointing. I mean, it is a worse margin than Maryland. And UCLA beat Maryland. Not even kidding, they started 0-4, then beat a top 10 Penn State, won 2 straight afterward, and then went back to losing. How could you even explain this UCLA team? They were bad in every category that was important except for passing defense, I guess. Blown out by Utah, lost to UNLV on the road, and then got blown out at home again against New Mexico. Yeah, New Mexico. Mind you, they lost their OC and quarterback to Utah. Oh yeah, and then lost a road game against Northwestern as well to be 0-4 up until they beat Penn State. Nico was just bid, just under 2,000 yards, 13 touchdowns, 7 picks. Not really many impressive players as far as the offense goes. Not many really heads turn for the defense either. They're not as bad as Purdue. They did beat Maryland, so they're stuck at disappointing, but by just a little bit of an edge. Next up is USC. USC, believe it or not, has 2 ranked wins, more than Michigan. I'll put them in above average. I know they were 4th in the Big Ten, but yeah, that's pretty much a fair ranking. 9-4 beat Michigan and also Iowa, both ranked opponents. Against good opponents, their defense did not show up in any way. That was my biggest concern heading into the season for USC. Was their defense going to be good? Against horrible teams? Yes. Against good competition? No. Evidence being the Notre Dame game, the Oregon game, the Illinois game, and also the TCU game. That bowl game went to overtime. Yeah, USC lost in the Alamo Bowl to TCU. To be fair, it was basically a home game. For the Horned Frogs, Jordan Maeva, he was pretty solid, I'm not gonna lie. 3,700 yards, 24 touchdowns, 10 picks. Makai Lemon, a beast in the receiving corps, 1,100 yards, 13 touchdowns. King Miller, just over 1,000 yards rushing, 8 touchdowns. So USC had something going on offense. It was a defense that was like downright mid. I mean, it was better than last year, so I can't complain about that. Next up is Washington Huskies. Not the worst season in the world as a Washington team, but yeah, you're probably just still mid. They did blow out Illinois, I'll give them that, but I don't know about that one. The fact that they lost to Michigan puts them in mid-tier. Oh yeah, and Wisconsin. So we're not even going to talk about that. Did only allow 24 points to Ohio State. They did only lose to Oregon by 12 at home. Then they dominated Boise State in one of the first bowl games of the bowl season. Finished the year 9-4, finished in the mid-table of the Big Ten. And I had noticed that Kai Horton, a former Tulane Green Wave member, was now a part of Washington's squad. Like, what? Devon Williams, 3,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, 8 picks. He wasn't bad. Jonah Coleman, 1,100 yards, 17 touchdowns. Denzel Boston, 880 yards, 12 touchdowns. I mean, both units were solid anyway, so it wasn't like it was a bad year for Washington at all. It was just tough competition. If you are Ohio State, Michigan, and freaking Wisconsin for some reason, and also Oregon. Solid season, Washington. And now we go to our final team, which is the Wisconsin Badgers. I don't even understand Wisconsin. How in the hell are you not ass? You really went from winning 17-0 against Miami, Ohio, and getting dominated by Alabama and Maryland, and getting shut out at home against Iowa and Ohio State, to whatever this was at the late stretch. Close game against Oregon. Beat Washington, who was ranked. Blew out Illinois, who was ranked. And then you lost to Indiana and Minnesota, allowing a combined average of 24 points. Not sure why Indiana only put up 31 against you. I mean, they should have blown you out by 50. I simply just cannot understand this Wisconsin team at all. I also can't understand how Lou Faco still has a job. The offense was putrid. The defense was actually solid for once. Only reason why you were 4-8 is because of your damn defense. That's the only reason. And that was also the reason you only lost to Michigan by 14, and you only lost to Oregon by 14 as well. Don't forget that. And that is the Big Ten team tier list. Yeah, like a couple of disappointing ones. It was mainly disappointing, but, you know, there were some in the elite and above average that, you know, was pretty good. Will the Big Ten win the national title for a fourth straight time, or will a different conference win it next year? I guess we'll find out when it comes in like a half a year. More than that, actually. That'll do it for this episode of Chris Talks Football. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you give this a bit that thumbs up. Hit the red subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single one of my videos. This is Chris signing off for now, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace, love, keep the aggressive vibes with you at all times. Take care.